We're not going to talk just about bone fractures today, but we're going to be talking about fractures that may be just as painful for many of you who are living with fractures in your family lives or in your key relationships. And so we're going to talk about what Paul says we can do to heal those fractures. And I'm going to warn you that it's not easy stuff that he's talking about. But I do believe that it does give us some wisdom to address the fractures that are affecting us most. And so I just invite you to think about the fractures in your own life. Where are the places and spaces where you feel breakages, that you really are hungering for healing? Are the Corinthians going to agree with each other? Probably not. But he says three things, I think, three H's for healing. The first H is to hold unity. Hold unity as more important than being right. And I think that that's what Paul is getting at here. That's when someone says, I disagree with you about vaccination, this is where we might say instead to them, hey, I really care about our relationship, so I know that we disagree on this. But what's most important to me is that the family stay connected or our friendships stay intact. That's the first H, hold unity. The second H is this, honor. Honor the other person's perspective. And this is a hard one because sometimes people come up with some crazy stuff, right? Some really unusual background, and they come up with websites and places, and sometimes it feels like misinformation. But honoring their perspective is like clothing them. It is helping them to not feel ashamed. And rather than them feeling attacked, they feel like you might say something like, you know what? I can see where you're coming from on a few points at least. I know that you are an intelligent person and that you have reason to believe what you believe. And then the third one, and Paul gets to this in a beautiful way later in this letter to the Corinthians. The third one is humility. Paul, after he kind of has all these explanations and he's trying to pull all these things together, finally says, and remember, all of us are looking as if through a mirror dimly. That mirror is something that we cannot see. It's like looking at an X-ray. We can't see everything at once. We try to make sense of what's happening, but none of us have the total perspective. And if we remember that piece of humility, then we might say, you know what? I don't agree with you, but I know that I don't know everything, and I love you, and I want us to keep our connection together.